Happy New Year to all the Wisconsin prep hockey fans out there as we've changed to 2023, and this is the first issue of This Week in Wisconsin Prep Hockey here in 2023. I'm Mike Hammett, your host. My astute colleagues of Bill Berg, Al Scanlon, and Bill Berg Jr. Good evening, gentlemen. How you doing?
Happy New Year to you.
Sleepy.
Sleepy? Let's get started with our last game of the week that we had. That I was at, I should say. Muskego Ice Force came in to play Janesville. And that was a game I was at, guys. And it was Coach Nick English said for his Bluebirds, you know what's important to us is getting a fast start. And about 30 seconds into the game, you really can't get much faster than that. They scored a goal, I believe, by Ben Schaffner to make it a 1-0 game. Then they scored another, and they scored 4 in the first period. The Ice Force did get 1 in the first period, so it was a 4-1 game after 1. Neither team scored in the second. And then Janesville scored again in the third to finish it out, guys. And Ice Force, Janesville wanted a fast start, but the Ice Force, they once they got past that second period, I thought they played a lot better. They were able to sustain some zone time, but weren't able to get many pucks past the goaltender for Janesville. And it's not that they played bad; they just didn't really come out in the first period. Struggled a little bit, and Janesville was able to get that lead, and they got the win.
Seemed like kind of a jumping off point for Janesville. They were 2-4 going into that game, and then following that, they ended up winning the Joe Raymond tournament.
Funny, the Joe Raymond tournament, Janesville's always went there in the last 10 or so years. And they've never really played in they've never played in the championship game. But all the planets aligned this year, and they did. And they were able to get a win over conference rival Sun Prairie, 5-3 games. So congratulations to them. You guys were at Wisconsin Prep Hockey Girls Holiday Classic. How'd that turn out?
That was a fun tournament. It always is. Coach Dwayne Washnick for the Warbirds organized things. It was in Fond du Lac this year. I was there with grandson Brett. Bill was using his 2 monitors to follow the live barn feeds from the Wisconsin Prep Hockey home office, and keep making sure all the games were entered and everything was up to date, doing the Twitter and all that other kind of social stuff, while Brett and I were down there snapping pictures. The first round, technically our game of the week was the championship game, but it was really the whole tournament we were there for. And I took, just some of the highlights from the tournament. The first round, they used both ranks in Fond du Lac for the first round. They play 2 games on each rank not at the same time. There's a 9:00 game at each rank and an 11:00 game at each rank. And I let Brett have the rink A, which is the big rink at Fond du Lac, and I took rink B, which was cold. I was dressed for the cold. Brett wasn't, but it was still cold. Very cold rink. But that was one of the things. And the highlight of the tournament was the Hayward uniforms. Hayward had some uniforms specially made up for this tournament. I know we plastered it all over the site and all over the social medias. They were designed by the assistant coach. I believe Tom Duffy did that. They were a sight to behold. Very festive. The numbers, the lettering was, with candy canes. Instead of crossed sticks on the front, it was crossed candy canes with a little starlight mint instead of a puck. Had the special roping going around. It was just very, very nice uniforms. One of the things I also noticed during when I process all the pictures, crop them, line them, make sure they're straight and stuff before we put them on the website. And when you go through the pictures and you keep seeing the same players over and over again, for what, so it's like there are certain players that were just always around the puck. For the Fox City Stars, it was number 10, Malaya Streck. I mean, she was in. It's like she was in every picture. She was just constantly moving up and down the ice, except she wasn't in the last game. And between periods, Brett came over and said, "Where's their little spark plug?" And he like, "Oh, I wonder if that was her on the bench," because there was a player on the bench with a helmet on and a hoodie. And I watched during the next period, and I'm pretty sure that was her because she was like in constant motion on the bench, just back and forth on the bench and jumping up, and yeah. So I'm pretty sure that was her. Number 21 for the Warbirds, Allison Wara, just in all the pictures, just always around the puck. And for the Rock County Fury, Amory Stuckey, number 25. It seemed like every picture she was in it because she was always around the puck. Another thing that stood out, she probably did not want to stand out quite so much, was Sydney Magnuson, the Black River Falls goalie. Bill tallied up the stats, and she had 155 saves and 7 goals allowed in a 24-hour period. They played in the second game on Wednesday. So she started Wednesday at 11 o'clock. Then they played a 2:30 game Wednesday afternoon. Then they played at 9 o'clock and finished at 11 o'clock on Thursday. So 24-hour span, 155 saves, 7 goals allowed for a 95 point something save percentage. I'm sure she was probably even seeing pucks in her sleep that Wednesday night. What else from there? The championship game featured Bay Area and the well-bedecked Hayward Hurricanes. But the semifinal game between Hayward and the Warbirds ended on a 2-on-1, which came after Ella Spies, who is always around the puck as well, a defender for the Warbirds. It was the second overtime, so it was 3-on-3, and she came in, put a shot, hit the goalie in the shoulder, and by that time I had moved indoors because I was in the lobby watching through the glass. But looked like hit her in the goalie in the shoulder, that hit the pipe and went out, which led to a 2-on-1 going the other way, and Hayward scored on that, and that got him into the championship game. But Coach Washnick said that, I mean, immediately after the shot, what Ella Spies said that puck went in, that did not hit the pipe, and they record all of their games, and he said he looked at that thing, and yeah, it actually hit the pipe on the inside, the back of the net, and back out. But it was such a quick thing that the ref didn't see it. I didn't see it. I was behind it. I didn't see it. Nobody saw it other than LSPs. So anyway, that put Hayward in the championship game, where it possibly should have been the Warbirds. But either way, Bay Area came away winning it. And Bay Area is a fast team. I mean, the first period, it was all spent in the Hayward end, with the exception of a couple of penalties that Bay Area drew, and then Hayward managed to get the puck down into the Bay Area end. But they are just fast. They pick pockets. They keep the puck. They relentless on the attack, and they're young. They've got a goalie and a couple of like 2 seniors among their top 10 scorers, and their goalie is a senior. but they just got a lot of sophomores and freshmen. And they're just, it's like, you see some players, skating down the ice and, their arms and their legs are just pumping. These girls, it just looked like effortless speed. They're just gliding, just back and forth up and down the ice. I don't know what they're doing over there in Green Bay. I don't know if they're doing overspeed skating or what, but they were just fast. And they did win the championship game, which was our game of the week. They won 4-1. They built a 3-0 lead. Hayward did score right at the end of the second period. Riley Springer, I think she's been a player of the week, and she's nominated a lot because she's a force on the ice. She got one with like 30 seconds left in the second period, and you hate giving up a goal at the end of a period, but Bay Area came back and scored in the first minute of the third period to wipe that out. So, and they just kind of skated to a 4-1 win, but it was a good tournament. It was fun. I think everybody had a good time down there. It was well run. It was on schedule. The games on the final day were what, 9, 11, 1, and 3. So I'm thinking, well, by the end, we're not going to get out of there until, 3, it should be done at 5. Probably won't get done till like 5:30 or 6. I'm looking at where we're going to go for dinner. We were on our way out the door at 4:37. So
Wow.
yeah. One other big, and Coach Washnick wanted me to bring this up too. Did you know there's a shortage of officials? I think we've all heard about this, but yeah, I mean, I think for some of they must have like an old officials home down there, retirement community. I think he rated that for some of the guys that were doing these games. But they had to cancel the JV portion. They usually have a JV portion for this tournament as well, and they had to cancel it because they did not have enough officials. I think there was the showcase going on in Green Bay. I think there was another tournament going on in Appleton. The Joe Ramos, there are not enough officials out there. And I was almost starting to feel guilty because I hung up my whistle a while ago, but they don't need old farts like me, although there were a couple at this game. But they need young guys. They need young guys. They need young women. They need officials. If you know how to skate, you like hockey, the WI is always looking for officials. So that's I promised I would mention that.
And if you go through USA Hockey's training program and all that, your local association is probably going to reimburse you for any of the costs, and then you get paid for all the games you do.
There you go. Yeah, and I mean, I realized I don't have to feel guilty because it's like back when we were with the hockey, so in the Anago Hockey, there was a crew of us that made ice every year, and the only way to get off the crew and get out of making ice was to find a replacement. And I found a replacement who's actually a much better official than I am, and she does a lot of games, and she's very good at it. So I mean, the old granddaughter Nikki replaced me, so I guess I don't have to feel guilty because she refs a lot. But they need officials. And next year, this tournament moves to Eau Claire, from what I am told. So
Vicky was going to be my guest. My guess. Because it seems like she's always in the games that are kind of, a little bit more important, like tournaments and, WIA tournament and stuff. Those kind of refs, and not saying it because she's your granddaughter, but, Nikki does a good job. And that's why she gets off that stuff.
Like, and if it's something that you want to do, I mean, last year, Nikki bought herself a brand new pair of skates that were $900, and she paid for them in a week of reffing.
Holy jump.
The next week of reffing after she bought those skates, she had made back every dime that she paid for them. And they were $900 skates, like the kind of skates I would never buy myself because that costs way too much. She paid for them in a week.
Hmm.
I mean, it was a couple of high school games and like a bantam tournament or something. And yeah, she paid for the whole thing. Like, I mean, if you've got the time, it's better than sitting at home doing nothing.
Yeah. Anything else about the games of the week?
No, I think that'll do it. I think we should, yeah, we could probably, it was like I said, one more thing, just a very, very good tournament. People in Fond du Lac, very friendly, very accommodating. A good time was had by all.
Our Radisson Madison players of the week are up next, and looks like Dell, that's your subject today. Who are
Thanks.
our winners for the week?
Thanks, MJ. Our Radisson Madison players of the week. First player actually was in an out-of-state tournament, and he scored 1 goal and 2 assists in a 6-1 win over North Shore, Minnesota. Then on Wednesday, he had 2 assists in a 5-4 win over Duluth Marshall, Minnesota. Thursday, he scored 2 goals in an 8-1 win over Moose Lake area, Minnesota. And our Radisson Madison boys player of the week is Cooper Simon from the Brookfield Stars.
Well, and I just want to add also that he was nominated, the nomination said he was also named to the all tournament team and was named the tournament MVP in that tournament.
How about that?
And Brookfield's got a few years to watch this player yet. I believe it said he was only a freshman. So,
Wow.
let's move over to the girls' side for our player of the week. And her team played in the Culver's Cup tournament down in Madison. And on Wednesday, she scored 2 goals and 1 assist in a 6-0 win over Cap City. On Thursday, she had 1 goal, 2 assists, and a 7-3 win over the Central Wisconsin Storm. And then on Friday, she had 1 goal, 1 assist, and a 5-1 win over the Madison Metro Lynx. And our player is Michaela Reinke from Superior. And those are our Radisson Madison players of the week.
Dell,
Back to you.
did
Go ahead.
you did you see any of the girls Culver's Cup?
I watched it on Live Barn. I was working during the day
I wanted to ask
last week.
you what you did see about Thursday's game. The Central Wisconsin Storm to give up 7 goals is just not Storm-like.
I actually tuned into that one a little bit late and kind of caught bits and pieces of it. I didn't see enough of it to really make a judgment on it. I'm looking forward to seeing the Storm play in person yet this year. I did see Superior play in person when they were our game of the week up in Superior. I've been impressed with Superior this year. They're sitting there with an 11-1 record. So yeah, it speaks for themselves because they're playing some good teams and everything. And it's actually, exciting to see another team instead of the same 4 or 5 that we've been seeing for the past few years. Nothing against those teams, just, nice to see new blood up there at the top of the rankings.
The last time
Question.
the Storm gave up 7 goals was Thursday, December 26th, 2019.
Who they give that up to?
Lakeville South.
Okay.
Twin Cities team. So a little over 3 years.
Okay.
Almost exactly 3 years, but yeah.
I agree with you, Del. It's good to see some different teams in there. Like you said, nothing against all the other teams, but Superior girls, we haven't had a chance to really talk about them. But Superior's a big hockey town. We all know that. My question is the Superior girls in girls hockey ever won state?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna say it was either the second or third year. We were there.
Would have been cousin Dana.
Cousin Dana was on it. My niece Dana, Bill's cousin Dana.
It looks like when you're looking at this top six, well, I'm just gonna go ahead and let Junior talk about the top six.
Oh, I suppose. Top six is surprising nobody. Unanimous number one in boys Division I is the Notre Dame Academy Tritons. Second is Chippewa Falls. Third is Verona. Fourth is Eau Claire Memorial. Fifth is Bayport. We'll hear more about them later. And sixth is Superior for the boys Division I top six. For Division II, St. Mary's Springs, not unanimous, but still number one. New Richmond is second. Amory is third. Rhinelander is fourth. Lakeland is fifth. And Oregon is sixth. And then for the girls, the aforementioned Superior Spartans are number one. Bay Area Ice Bears are second. Central Wisconsin Storms third. Hayward Hurricanes are fourth. Fox City Stars are fifth. And the Cooley Region Cyclones, I keep wanting to say chill, are sixth.
That's what's going through my head. Cooley Region. Our upcoming games of the week: Notre Dame at Bayport, and Saturday, the Icebergs going to be taking on the Cap City Cougars. It should be a matchup. We'll have story summaries online, and we'll talk about it next week as well.
I don't remember if it was a game of the week, but last year we covered Notre Dame and Bayport in the championship game of the Fox River Classic conference tournament. I called that one on the Voice of BP stream as the color man. That was a very, very good hockey game. And now both those teams are recognized as top six teams. Notre Dame is obviously, I believe they're still sitting perfect on the season. So see if Bayport can get in there and knock them off.
Notre Dame looks really good here. They
they're 12.
look really good.
They're averaging 7.08 goals a game while allowing 1.33.
That's kind of Hudson-like.
In their 12 games, they've only given up more than 2 goals twice or 3 times.
So MJ, on your question about the Superior girls winning
Yes.
state,
Yes.
they won the state tournament in 2005, 3-0 over on Alaska. In 2004, they lost the state championship game 2-1. In 2003, they got knocked off in the semifinals. And in 2002, they weren't down there, but those were the first 4 state tournaments for the girls.
And I think those first 4 tournaments, like the first couple, there was only like 4 teams.
Yep.
Little.
And let's see. Yeah, I'm not sure when they actually increased from 4. So
Speaking of Cooley Region chill,
it's not the Cooley Region chill.
I know, but came up with Junior there. Cooley Region chill. Back in the day when they had a junior hockey team, they had a kid from Verona named Eddie Matsushima playing on their team. I'm sure you guys remember Eddie Matsushima from Verona.
Yes.
Forward. Was going through Twitter the other day, and Eddie Matsushima showed up with a goal that he scored playing for the Tulsa Drillers. So Eddie's been through juniors, been through college, and now getting paid to play hockey. And I thought that was pretty neat because it was like watching him all over again. I mean, it just the way he handled the puck and, the good hands and just put it away. And, see some of these guys going on. I mean, not NHL guys, but still being able to play the game they love and get paid. I mean, how cool is that?
Yeah, he's still getting paid to play hockey in the ECHL. He's got 25 points in 27 games this season for the Tulsa Oilers. So,
And he made the All-Star team.
well, a point a game will generally do that for you.
Mm-hmm.
He leads the team in points. What surprises me is that, well, I mean, I don't know Eddie, on a personal level, but with the numbers he's putting up in the ECHL, I'm surprised he's not playing in Europe. He'd probably make more money.
But
But he may
Ross
not,
Marmon's playing over there in Europe.
he may not want to. It's a long plane ride.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, some final thoughts as the show is coming down the stretch.
Oh, I got one final thought. And this comes up from time to time during certain conference games and during tournaments and stuff. When entering the stats on the site, all we track is what the WIAA considers to be an official game, which is 3 periods of 17 minutes, and if necessary, an 8-minute overtime, and if necessary, a 5-minute 3-on-3 overtime. Once that's done, the scoring stops as far as what gets entered on our site. Now, we started actually putting game summaries and tracking stats and all this when we moved to Sports Engine, 12 years ago?
I believe it was 2011, 2012.
Yeah, okay. So, and we had, the first time tournaments came up, I mean, we discussed it, and there were arguments to be made on both sides. We should count if they go another overtime, or if they go to a shootout, that should count, as some people said. And some people say, well, no, it really shouldn't, because I mean, the game is just supposed to be, and rather than coming up with the decision on our own, what we can't make that rule. We can't make up a rule on our own, because somebody's always going to argue with it. So we said the easiest thing is just count an official game the way the WIAA counts an official game. And their official thing is the aforementioned 3 17-minute periods, an 8-minute 5-on-5, and if necessary, a 5-minute 3-on-3 overtime. And those are the only official stats that get entered. So if you have to play another overtime or a shootout because you have to determine a winner because it's a tournament, that's fine to go ahead and do. Don't enter that on the site. Those things that happen after that second overtime do not count. And I mean, like a lot of the teams do that because the Badgerland Conference, each team plays each other once, and that purpose of that is to seed their conference tournament. So they won't end in a tie for those conference games. And they know they've been doing that for years. And, if they go to a shootout to determine that is only for purposes of conference seeding. They keep a separate stat on that, and it doesn't get entered on the site, because all that we enter is the official WIAA. Yes, we often say we're not the WIAA, so we don't have to, we don't make the rules, we don't follow, but there were, like I said, there were good arguments to be made on both sides, and we decided that, that's not a decision we should make. We'll just go with what is the official game and leave it at that. So, Sauk Prairie, you tied Madison Memorial. Get over it.
Plus, I mean, if we had to, we'd be implementing different rules for different teams in different conferences, and it doesn't make sense. Thankfully, over the last 2 seasons now, I think most of the conference tournaments have aligned with the WIAA procedures now. It used to be they'd play one overtime and then they'd go into a shootout right away. I don't think we're going to see that anymore in the conference tournaments. But with the holiday tournaments, that's still kind of happening. It'd be nice if everybody followed the 8-minute 5-on-5, 5-minute 3-on-3, and then if you still needed something to determine a winner, fine, do another overtime, do a shootout. But it'd be nice if the first 2 overtime periods were as defined in the rules, because then everybody would be playing the same rules.
Yeah, I think most. Well, I think it would, unless you go to one of these out of state tournaments. I think most of the Wisconsin ones are doing that now because, and I like the reason. I think one of the head of the girls coach, explained why they did that, because they're going to do that at state, and they're going to do it for the playoffs. So they want teams to be able to get used to that, get used to the idea of playing 3-on-3, and quite frankly, 3-on-3 for 5 minutes, that's going to end a lot of games.
Sure is. Sure is. I agree with that.
I'm still waiting for somebody to pull the Fedorov and pull their goalie and go 4-on-3. Sergey
Well-
was doing it in the KHL. I would love to see. I mean, it's a high school hockey game. If it's the non-conference game and you're just come on, pull your goalie, go 4-on-3.
Well, in the Culver's Cup, there was one other game that in regulation ended in a 1-1 tie, and they went to the shootout, and that was Madison Weston Cedarburg, and Cedarburg ended up winning the shootout, but they left their stats the way they needed to be off the score sheet.
Yeah, and generally we're not like proactive about editing the stats that entered into the site. Like if you send us a correction or something, we go back to the coaches and ask for the score sheet and then enter that. But we are proactive. If like a shootout gets entered into the site, we're going to go into that game and delete it. Because that one we can
four times.
we can see that, and we're not like, well, burglar sounds joyful, but we're not like thrilled about it. We don't want to delete your stats or anything, but I mean, the rules are the rules, and that's what a game is, and anything else is for the purposes of tournament seeding. It's not official as far as the WIAA is concerned, and the Wisconsin Hockey Coaches Association has been on board with the way we've chosen to do it. They've never complained. So, if we were to change it, it would come from them or the WIAA if they changed the rules. But I think we're in a pretty good place with it.
My final thought for the day is last week, or the December 22nd, the Rock County Fury was trying to put on their mental health awareness game down in Beloit. Unfortunately, Mother Nature stepped in and changed a lot of games that day. And so they rescheduled their game till Monday night next week at 7 p.m. And they will be playing their mental health awareness game next Monday. And we just wanted to make sure that word got out.
Well, kind of watching TV here today once I got off work, and I see the Winter Classic was on, being played at Fenway Park. I thought that was pretty cool today. The question came up to me is, if any of you ever heard of a high school game in Wisconsin play outdoors?
I'm pretty sure that several teams used to play outdoors.
Well, I don't remember, one recently being played outdoors, but I do know that one of our teams, and they went to Fargo over the Holiday Classic and played on an outdoor rink under the lights out there. And I think was it Fox City? No, it wasn't Fox Cities. I know if I can, it was like the 27th or 28th, and because they have it outdoor rink is where they played.
I just wondered if there was any places, there probably has been, but I'm saying like in recent times, has there been any games played outside? Although some would probably tell you playing in Beloit's pretty close to being playing outside with the facility down there.
Back when I
that-
was a kid, Mosinee didn't have walls. It was just a roof. Big tarps behind the player benches leading
Oh.
right outside.
Well, if you ever were at Salem before they got their new rink and everything, that was basically an outdoor rink with just walls boards put up for the wall. The team that I was thinking about that played the outdoor game at the Lights in West Fargo, North Dakota was River Falls on this past Tuesday.
I would imagine though, you got to have a lot of things when it comes to an outdoor game, like at the high school level. I mean, NHL, I mean, they got guys that, their business is ice. I mean, they got to put on a show.
Well,
But I
part
would
of the-
imagine at the high school level, you got to have some things go right.
I mean, part of the NHL thing is that they keep putting outdoor ice in places where shouldn't necessarily be outdoor ice. Like Fargo, North Dakota. I'm sure the outdoor ice is beautiful all on its own. All you got to do is stick boards on it and get some lights up so you can see. Outdoor games would be cool. I'd like if someone hosted an outdoor game, I would go.
Yeah, I think Minnesota with their hockey day in Minnesota, I think they do outdoor games for the high school level.
They do. I've seen it advertised before that, we're going to have this outdoor game. I just think it'd be pretty neat if somebody had one, but like I said, you got to have a lot of things, especially weather. Got to have things like weather in your favor. It's just so hard to predict these days.
Yeah, I mean the weather is a big one. I mean, if it's a light snow, you can play outside, but if it's a blizzard, probably not.
Right. No, they had decent weather in Boston today for that Winter Classic, and they kept commenting on how good the ice was holding up. So made it a pretty entertaining game. So that's my final thought. Outdoor games. Thought that was neat to see that, and I was just kind of wondering if we've ever had any of those here in recent memory here in Wisconsin. So my last final thought. So guys, anything else you want to get off your chest?
No, I'd like to go to bed.
Okay. All right. Well, for the Berg family, for Dell, myself, thanks for listening. We'll try better next week on This Week in Wisconsin Prep Hockey.